Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Hold the Phone podcast. My name is Alex. I'm a junior at UNCG. I'm a huge Carolina Panthers fan, Carolina Tar Heels fan, and just all-around sports fan. Now I'm going to kick it over to my co-host Ryan. Let him tell you a little bit about himself.
What's up, everybody? I'm Ryan Brouk. I'm a senior at Mary Washington, and I'm a huge Buffalo Bills fan. Shout out to Bills Mafia. And before we get started, I'd like to shout out Elena for doing all our cover art for our social media. And I'd like to give a big shout out to our producer, Florence West, for giving us that great intro music. All right, Alex, you want to jump into game picks for this weekend?
Yeah, so let's start with the NFC Championship game. It's the Los Angeles Rams versus their New Orleans Saints. The game is Sunday at 3:05, and it is in New Orleans. What do you think? Who you got?
Well, honestly, I'd just like to start off saying that, honestly, both games this weekend could go either way. But I think I'm taking the Los Angeles Rams on this one. Kind of a hot take because I know everyone's taking the Saints with the home field advantage. But Sheldon Rankins for the Saints is hurt this week, so their run defense is going to be a little off kilter. And, I mean, the Rams had two 100-yard rushers last week, and C.J. Anderson and Todd Gurley. I just see them exploiting that. And also, this is a huge revenge game for Marcus Peters. When they played when they played the Saints earlier in the year, Marcus Peters got burned by Michael Thomas, and head coach of the Saints, Sean Payton, called Marcus Peters out on it. I think this is a big game for Marcus Peters. I think the Rams win it in a really close one. It might even go to overtime. What do you think, Alex?
Ooh, I like it. I picked the Saints. I definitely think the Saints are going to pull this one out. I just don't think Jared Goff has it in him to go into New Orleans and beat Drew Brees and the Saints. I mean, yeah, I think Todd Gurley's still injured, so I think that's going to be a big thing. And I don't know if C.J. Anderson can keep it up. But plus, I mean, I know you talked about Marcus Peters, but I don't know if he can guard Mike Thomas. I don't know. Plus, the home field advantage. That'll be a big focal
point in the game.
The home field advantage is huge.
Oh, no doubt about it. I think the Rams learned from last time, and I just think they ride on Sean McVay's energy and his excellent play calling.
Maybe, because if they lose another playoff game in his back-to-back years, people are going to start questioning how great McVay actually is.
I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, the guy's a young genius. He's a prodigy. Coming into a team that honestly looked really crummy after Jeff Fisher's tenure there, but I think he really turned that organization around, and I think 2 straight playoff appearances, and then especially a trip to the NFC Championship. I don't think you can be mad at the guy. I know I wouldn't be. I'd love to have him in Buffalo.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just saying, after bringing in all these personalities, if they don't make it at least, well, I guess they made it to the championship, so that's something, but I don't know. I think the Saints are going to pull this one out.
Why? I don't know. I kind of see where you're coming from, but I think that I'll give them I'll give them a little leeway this year if they lose, but next year should really be their year because who knows if Brady or Brees is going to stick around. I have a feeling that if Drew Brees ends up winning the Super Bowl this year, he's going to call it a career. I think he wants to end up on top.
I agree, especially because they have Teddy Bridgewater waiting behind him, and even if Teddy's not the future, he's at least a stopgap until they draft somebody. I think if they win, he's done.
I agree. I'd also love to. I know they're not going to do it, but I'd love to explore the option of Taysom Hill as the franchise quarterback.
Dude, he's so old though. He came out of BYU. He's like 29.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
He took a Mormon trip for 3 years, his sophomore season. So yeah, he's 30 or something like that.
Hey, that's just some more veteran leadership right there.
I mean, I guess. All right, so we can swing on over to the AFC Championship game, which is the Patriots versus the Chiefs, 6:40 on Sunday. It's another good one. It's in Kansas City, which is probably going to play a huge factor because I'm pretty sure with the wind chill, it's supposed to feel like -8. which is crazy.
That's nothing Buffalo hasn't seen. I'm just kidding. For people who've been making those jokes all week, and I had to stick one in there.
No, you're right.
But no, I mean, if you look at it, like, out of all these playoff teams, who's the most apt to, like, playing in the cold? It's New England. So, I don't know. I'll let you get first on this one. Who you got this week?
Well, I really want it to be the Chiefs, but I just have a feeling that Tom Brady's pissed off, and they're going to go in there and they're going to whoop them. I think the Patriots win by at least a touchdown. I would love for it to be closer, but I don't know. Tom Brady, after the last game, he said in the post game, everybody thinks we suck. I don't know. We'll see. And then the very next day, posted a video on his Instagram, listening to music, running on the treadmill. He's ready. And he feels like an underdog, which is crazy. In fact, I think they are the underdog in this game. I think they're like 4-point underdogs, which is insane to me. But, yeah, I'm just going to stick with New England. I think they have a better running back. And just, I mean, the GOAT, Tom Brady, on their side. Can't wait for him to retire, but I got to respect him.
I completely agree on this one. I'm gonna side with you on this one. I've seen this movie too many times, and I know how it ends. You can't bet against Brady, man. And they might be the quote unquote underdogs, but they're taking this one. And honestly, you said they might win by a touchdown. I think it might be by 21. Honestly, I mean, I looked up some stats this week just to help prove my point. I mean, this man is 28-10 in the playoffs. Not to mention the Chiefs. Okay, if you take everything from last week, how they beat the Colts, the last home game in the playoffs that they've won was in 1993. I wasn't even born yet. I don't think you were either.
No.
And the last playoff game they won was home playoff game, was in 2015 against the Texans. That's the last home playoff game they've won.
Wow.
So I don't see it adding up for them. There's too much inexperience here in Patrick Mahomes. I think the experience guy. I think it's going to be a GOAT versus GOAT battle. But I think Tom Brady is going to come out in the end.
Yeah, and this is the second time that Bill Belichick has got to see Patrick Mahomes, which that's never good.
It doesn't sound like an advantage, but it is.
No,
Belichick is a coaching monster. He's a nightmare.
All right, so which wild card team, which team that was in the wild card round do you think is best set up for the future?
If we're going AFC first, I've got to say the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, you look at what they've done. I mean, their O-line is looking fantastic. Frank Reich, they took a bet on him, signing him as their head coach. Panned out perfectly. The man is amazing. I mean, they got out to a rocky start, but I mean, they came out on top in that end of the season run. But I mean, also a huge thing that they were worried about is Andrew Luck. I mean, the man hadn't played in years, basically, like a season and a half, I think. And I mean, he came out. He was a little rusty, but I mean, like I said, they shook off the rust real fast. And I mean, I got to be happy if I'm the Colts. Not to mention the defense is looking good, which has been a big focal point for them in years past.
I couldn't agree with you more. Honestly, that was my pick too, because everything you just said, and then on top of that, they have, I think it's like $98 million in cap space, which means that they can make a huge splash in free agency. And they have 2 first-round picks, and I think 2 second-round picks. They have like 8 or 9 picks in the upcoming draft. So they can really establish that team if they get some good veterans in there. I mean, somebody, honestly, I'd love to see them trade for would be Antonio Brown. I don't think they'll do it, but could you imagine Antonio Brown and T.Y. Hilton on the same team?
Not to mention Eric Ebron. That would be absolutely deadly.
Yeah, like, who do you guard? And I know there were a lot of rumors about them going after Lev Bell, but I don't see it anymore because Marlon Mack has really established himself in that backfield.
Well, I mean, they have a whole committee of young guys. They have Naheem Hines, like you said, Marlon Mack, and they've also got Jordan Wilkins. They've got to be happy with all 3 of those guys. And I mean, what they're paying them has to be around, I want to say like $2 million in salary per year, because I mean they're all mid-round picks and they're on their rookie contract. So I mean that's like a dent of what they'd be paying Le'Veon. So I agree with you. I don't think they're gonna go after him. I think Le'Veon's with the Jets, but I mean we can get into that later.
Yeah, probably. That would probably be a good bet. Which NFC team do you think, or playoff team do you think has the brightest future?
This one was kind of tricky for me, because I had a lot of them were kind of head scratchers. Because I mean, in one hand you got the Eagles. What do they do with Wentz and Foles? Cowboys got to question Garrett's future, and now they're trying to find a new offensive coordinator. Bears had that devastating loss. But, I mean, in the end, I think I am going with the Bears. I mean, they got a lot of young pieces, and when it comes down to it, Foles is just unstoppable in the postseason. Obviously not unstoppable, but he's close to it. But I just think inexperience won the Eagles that game. The inexperience of the Bears, I mean. With a few more years under his belt, I think Trubisky's going to be really something special. They just need to add to that wide receiving core, and I think they're golden.
I agree. I debated the Eagles and the Cowboys, but I think I got to go with the Bears. One thing I will say about the Cowboys is they waited a really long time to fire their offensive coordinator, and now they are going to have, like, the pickings are pretty thin on who they're going to pick up. Because they should have done it right as they were eliminated, but they waited a couple weeks, and now I feel like it's going to be harder for them to find somebody, unless Jason Garrett takes over, which is always a possibility. But yeah, I would probably go with the Bears too. I think they have a lot of cap space too, even though they paid Mack. So they could always pick up another wide receiver and hopefully get a new kicker. Man.
Hey, man, it was blocked. No, but I do agree with you. Parkey, everyone wanted to jump to Parkey's defense that the kick was blocked, and I will not argue that it was blocked. But this man was tied for the second most missed field goals. Or I can't remember if it was missed field goals or missed kicks.
It was missed
Either way,
field goals.
He had a terrible year, so I think they move on from the kicker.
Yeah, dude, he had 8 field goals that hit the upright. Like, that's insane. Most guys
That's honestly really good accuracy, but not the right kind.
Yeah, clearly. And what was funny after that kick, he had, like, a bunch of videos in college where he would hit the upright in, like, his social media videos. And people kept posting them and, like, retweeting them towards him, which I feel bad for the guy, but at the same time, come on, dude.
That's dirty.
Yeah. So, I know we talked about the Colts a little bit, but Adam Vinatieri missed 2 big field goals in the playoffs. What do you think his future is like?
That was heart-wrenching to watch, honestly, because, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Vinny. Honestly, because of Pat McAfee, I became, like, a huge fan of, like, the Colts special teams for no apparent reason.
I agree.
Honestly, Vinatieri is just the GOAT. I mean, but after that performance, not like they would have changed the game completely, because they still would have lost if you put those points on the board. But, I mean, this man has been I think this was his 23rd season. He's been in the league longer than you and I have both been alive, which is insane. I think that you just end up, like, just retire on top. You know, he's the NFL leader. Most field goals made in NFL history. I don't see how you can, like, hang your head on that career. I mean, you can. It's definitely something to keep your head high about. But I mean, I just think he's got to end it quick before things get out of hand.
Yeah, man. He's been in the NFL longer than I've been alive. He started in 1995 is when he was drafted. He's 46. But, I mean, if I look at that Colts roster and see how good they could be in the next 2-3 years, I think if I'm him and the team will let him, I would try and hang on for a couple more years, see if you could get another Super Bowl. Because what's he have, 4 maybe?
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, 4 with the Patriots, right? Well, 1 with the
really?
Colts.
So you think that he should stick around?
I mean, if they're willing to keep him, and he still has, like, the leg, he still has the drive to want to play, I would try to, because I think that team's going to be really good in the next 2 years. I
mean, it's hard to disagree with you there, but I mean, in terms of, like, the Colts' success, but I mean, I don't know, man. This guy's a generational kicker, and you know how it goes. I mean, that's why Tim Duncan he retired on top. You know, he knew that his performance wasn't what it was going to be in the upcoming years. So I mean, like, if that's what like a glimpse into the future for us, I think Vinatieri should just hang him up.
I guess. I mean, he is 46. Wow, that's crazy.
I think he's almost the same age as my dad.
He was
which is kind of
born
scary.
December 28th, 1972, because I just looked it up. He's 46, which is crazy. I'm going to throw a little wrinkle into the show a little bit. What do you think the Eagles are going to do with the whole Wentz-Foles thing? I know they said that they're going to keep Wentz and get rid of Foles, but, like, how much do you think they can get for him if they trade him?
I mean, honestly, that's a tough one because I've been really scratching my head over this. And I think they have too.
Or what
because
team
this
do
is
you
a guy
think will try and target him?
What team will? Honestly, you know what I think? I think that if anyone tries to target him, it's going to be another team in the NFC East. I think it most likely will be the Redskins. Maybe we hear talk to the Giants. But, I mean, those are two valid teams. Maybe even Miami. I know they're not in the division, but, I mean, that's another team looking to move on from a quarterback. But, I mean, I think they try to hang on to him if they can. But, I mean, obviously, he's worth big money. He's going to go somewhere else.
Yeah, if they want to keep him, they have to pay him $20 million. I think that's his contract option.
Yeah, that's a steep price, especially because they got to pay Wentz in a year or two. I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. If I'm the Eagles, I think I'm trading them. They also like their third string quarterback Nate Sudfeld. So I mean, I just roll with the two young guys.
Yeah.
I watched a mic'd up video today of the Eagles and Saints game, and at the end of it, Zach Ertz goes up to Nick Foles and says, "Hey, brother, it was good playing with you."
Oh, wow.
As if there's already been a decision made, which really confused me because I'm like, that's like in game. Like, have they been talking about it since like playoffs started or what?
Maybe they already made the decision before the playoffs, or maybe they went to him and they were like, "Look, you're not the future. We're going to try and trade you." But here's the thing about the NFC East teams. I don't know if Philly trades him to one of them. Because do you want him in your division for the rest of, like, his tenure in the NFL? I don't know. I could see him going to, like, the Jaguars. I think
that'd be a good option.
Maybe, because they need a stopgap quarterback. And he could be, I mean, he's definitely better than Blake Bortles.
That's a very low bar.
That's true. All right, so the last thing we're going to talk about is, this is very near and dear to my heart, is Cam Newton and his injured shoulder, and then the owner of the Panthers coming out and saying it's a possibility that he sits out the whole 2019 season. Whew. I would be so sad.
Hey man, take the floor on this. This is your issue, man.
What I really want to know is how bad his shoulder injury is, because what a lot of people don't know, I learned this from Pat McAfee actually, listening to his show, is that when Andrew Luck was injured with the same injury, he re-injured it snowboarding with his friends, and then they didn't tell anybody. So that's why he was out for almost a year and a half. I'm wondering if, because our owner did this long interview, it was like 10, 15 minutes where he just reviewed his entire year. But he spent a lot of it on Cam. And I honestly don't know what we would do if he set out the whole 2019 season. Because it's basically like throwing that season away. Because what are we going to have? Taylor Heineke start at quarterback? Like, he broke his elbow in his very first playoff game. Exactly. Yikes. I mean, and we're not going to go out and pay a whole bunch of money to one of the free agent quarterbacks when we have Cam Newton sitting on the shelf. So I'm just hoping he can rehab it. And if it means missing the first 3-4 games, then do it. But not the whole season. That seems crazy to me.
Well, I mean, I think you really run into a problem where you have to risk, having a down season, which, you guys are already coming off of, or you can risk Cam's entire future if you play him too early, you know?
Yeah.
I say rebuild around him. I say just tank next year if he's not going to play. Get a high draft pick and then come really strong for 2020.
Honestly, if we did that and got like in the top 5, I would want to trade back and collect assets because next year they have Justin Hubert, Tua Tagovailoa coming out. Like, there's a bunch of quarterbacks that people would want. So if you did tank and got a high draft pick, you could probably trade back and get a lot. Because, I mean,
Oh, for sure.
what did the Bears? The Bears gave up like 2 first rounds and a second round to the 49ers to move up 2 spots. Like, because there's going to be a bunch of teams that want a quarterback next year, like the Giants, the Jaguars, a bunch that we named this year, unless they go and draft somebody like Kyler Murray or somebody like that. And so,
I think.
Yeah, what were you saying?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I don't know. Free agency, I think that there's one interesting man that might end up in Carolina.
A former Buffalo Bill?
You already know, man. I mean, that would be the ultimate plot twist if the Carolina Panthers signed Tyrod Taylor, because there have been so many, since McDermott left the Panthers to come coach Buffalo, we've had so many of your players come up to us. How funny would it be if our former quarterback came and saves the day for you guys? I mean,
honestly,
he's not a bad quarterback. He's not great. He's not elite by any means, but I mean, he'll get you through the year.
If we could sign
you guys
him,
can definitely reach like 9-7.
If we could sign him for like 10, 15 mil for like 2 years, I would gladly take Tyrod Taylor as our backup quarterback. I mean, he would fit the scheme. He's mobile. I mean, he's not as big as Cam, but like I feel like that would be the perfect free agent signing if Cam were to miss a lot of time.
I do think it would be interesting. Well, I know you guys definitely aren't going to go after any big QB prospects in this draft, because obviously, I mean, Cam's coming back eventually.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you did, that'd be really interesting. Like Dwayne Haskins.
No way. Dude. He's going to
like
go in
you
the
said,
top
Kyler
10.
Murray.
I think
any of those guys.
I
honestly.
think Haskins goes in the top 10. I think he either goes Giants, Jaguars, or somebody trades up and tries to get him, like Miami, somebody like that. But then again, like you said, Kyler Murray, he throws a whole wrench in things because it just depends. Somebody could be crazy enough to draft him super high.
Well, I mean, another little stopgap quarterback you might end up getting, Teddy Bridgewater. He's a free agent after this year, and I don't know if the Saints are going to keep him. I mean, it'd be smart for them to, but I don't know if they will.
I think they're.
But how nasty would that be if he ended up leaving and going to another team in the division?
I love it, but I think they're going to end up re-signing him. I think they gave up like a second-round pick for him. I think they're going to end up re-signing him and trying to make him a little bit of the future.
So what if Tannehill and Bortles is on the market, or Flacco?
If those
any of those guys?
Those are my choices. Who am I taking? Oh God, I would want Ryan Tannehill.
Really? Not Flacco?
No, I can't. Joe Flacco is the most immobile person in the history of the world. I literally think me and you could outrun Joe Flacco right now.
I mean, I can't argue with that.
The Carolina offensive line is in shambles. That's the last person we need back there. What are we going to have? Record sack numbers for the year?
Have a David Carr situation.
Really?
Force him into retirement.
Honestly, yeah.
I'm sure Ravens fans wouldn't be upset about that.
Probably not. Did you have anything else you wanted to touch on during this episode?
I think that might be it. Just go visit us on Twitter at Hold the Phone Fort, YouTube, Spotify, you name it. We'll get back to you guys on Twitter and share all the links. So come follow, subscribe, like, do whatever.
Appreciate it. All right. Peace, y'all.